But I want to talk about the skill. At Teach Play Disc Golf, the purpose here is to teach people how to play disc golf. And for us, the listeners, me, the host, and just disc golfers in general, to have fun playing it. And I just am so passionate about teaching how to play. So in this segment, we are going to be talking about standstill shots. So this has really only been about a week or so in the process. I've actually only been throwing standstill backhands, and when I can, even standstill forehands, but I've mainly been working on my backhand. It's progressed really well lately, and I'm really excited about that. But I've only been throwing standstill backhands off the tee, off the fairway. Whenever I need to throw a backhand, I'm throwing standstill. And I have found incredible success with it, even in just a week, because I'm going back to the basics. I'm adjusting my form. I'm focusing on making sure I'm engaging my lower body first before worrying about what my upper body is doing. And so basically what's happening is, by doing this, and I would recommend everyone else try this, throwing standstill really makes you slow things down. It is so easy with the X step in the backhand to get carried away and kind of lose your form a little bit and end up thinking you're throwing with your lower body, or at least engaging your lower body, and really you're just twisting your back and your spine and throwing really hard with your arm, which is not at all what you want to be doing. And so it's definitely been helpful for me to slow these things down and to focus on my lower body engagement. I've been thinking about initiating with the hips and getting my back leg off the ground, because like we talked about in last week's video, by engaging those hips, gliding forward into your brace and getting that back leg off the ground, you're fully putting your weight and momentum into your brace leg, and you can't help but follow through. And so this is something that's been really helping me fine tune my form. I had some great success this past weekend with this. If you check out my Instagram page, at Gladiator Disc Golf, you'll see that I made a reel where I threw the mint bullet off the tee twice. Now, the first throw with it, I got a little lucky, and by a little lucky, I mean a lot lucky. I hit a really narrow gap, and it basically just kept going down to the basket. Now, this is a pretty steep downhill hole, but it's 378 feet, and it's really easy to miss your gap because it's pretty narrow off the tee if you just waver a little bit. Unless you get lucky like me on the first throw, you're going to hit a tree. So I threw the first one. I was like, okay, it was a good throw, but I didn't get my back leg up. I didn't have a clean follow through. Basically, I was powering into the throw with my lower body, and since my back foot stayed on the ground, it basically worked like a brake. And so I was like accelerating and braking at the same time, which is kind of why I didn't have a throw that hit my line. So I was like, okay, let me take my other mint bullet, one of the new glow ones, and let me make sure that I do the same thing to start my throw, but get that back foot up. And I did that. And not only did I hit my gap right down the middle, I literally ended up under the basket. It was awesome to watch fly through the air. It was so, so cool. I don't care that it was 378 feet downhill. It is still a shot where you have to hit your line. And it was so amazing to see the disc fly through the air like that. Not only is it a great putter, but it was just such a beautiful shot. So I share that story because by simplifying my form, by going back to the basics here and really making sure I get the building blocks in place where they need to be, I've been having way more success with my backhand. I've been progressing faster over the last week with my backhand than I would even say over the last 2-3 months, where I was progressing a lot. Like, things have just started to click so much better. And I was dealing with a lot of pain in my arm because I was I was thinking like, oh, I'm not throwing with my arm, but then I feel pain. I'm like, I clearly am throwing with my arm. And so going to that standstill has just helped me separate kind of my upper and lower body and just focusing on that. And that has helped tremendously. One of the biggest things that I've noticed is that I was doing these X steps on these tee pads where I've been throwing standstills. And not only am I having better throws, but my scores are basically the same, if not better. And so this just kind of goes to show like, hey, X steps are good, but if you don't have a good standstill, which is the foundation for the X step, you're not actually getting a whole lot more distance and power in your X step. Now, you could be getting distance and power from other things like throwing with some oat and throwing an overstable disc on anhyzer and just having it flex and get some extra distance that way. There's other variables that come into play. But if you're talking about, trying to keep your form as similar to your standstill in your X step, it's like, if you're not getting that much further distance, something is wrong here. And it's that transfer of power from the lower body. And so this standstill has helped me improve my accuracy, improve my distance, and improve my consistency, which has just been awesome to experience and just see myself making that progress. And so I definitely want to encourage you guys as you're listening to this to give it a shot. It's going to feel really, really hard. I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to be hard showing up to a disc golf course and only throwing standstill. You're almost going to feel like people are like watching you and judging you like, oh, he or she can't even do an X step. They must be, a beginner at disc golf. And, that might, some people might actually be thinking that. But at the same time, I highly doubt anyone's watching your game. So I really want to encourage you to give this a shot, whether it's backhand or forehand. Next time you're playing around, go ahead and throw just standstills and really focus on your form and not so much about what your arm is doing, getting that lower body engaged. I think you're going to see, you might drop a little bit, but it's going to help you get so much better, so much faster. And so if you do that, please let me know how it goes for you. I'm so excited to hear about that. I've had great success with it, and I think you will too.